Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J More Living. I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Those of you joining us live on Facebook, drop your comments and questions for my guest or myself into the comment box, and you'll see me check from time to time. Today's guest is Monti Carlo, cook, writer, and award-winning television host. In the space between, as a self-taught chef and eventual TV host and James Beard Foundation advisor, she's carved out a cuisine all her own, one that is a testament to a life spent bridging two cultures, Puerto Rico and continental America. It's a mosaic of borrowed words and flavors, a reflection of the bittersweet beauty of connecting two very different ways of life. It's pure Spanglish, which is the new cookbook's name, Spanglish Recipes and Stories, hitting the shelves May 19th. Let's bring in Monti Carlo.
Hi.
Hi, Monti. It is good to see you. I'm going to switch screens here so I can see you. There you are. Okay. Thank you for joining us. So what's on your plate to do today other than doing this show?
I don't know if you can see behind me, but I've got a ton of boxes and I'm signing cookbooks, which is something I never thought I'd say in my entire life, but here it is.
Well, the book is beautiful. I'm going to show everybody, and I'm sure you have one handy. Here we go. There we go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is just beautiful. I love the colors. I love the title.
Thank you, Dara.
What is your definition of Spanglish?
Well, Spanglish to me is more than just mangled language. To me, it's really it's resilience, it's survival, it's the way that we adapt. Many people whose parents grew up somewhere else and relocated to the continental US, much like my mother did, are facing very different lives than their parents did. And so we grow up translating at the table. We grow up shape-shifting, code switching, and being what we need to be in the rooms that we're in. And Spanglish to me is kind of what happens when you stop doing that. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to be okay just being myself.
Right. I think part of that, and I want to tell people, it is a cookbook, but it's also stories. And I found that Monti is a beautiful writer. And I really enjoyed the stories. And very honestly, I think your story is a food Rocky story. It is something else. And you flipped back and forth. You went to 23 different schools before you hit high school, didn't you?
I did. You are good with your numbers. I did. I never was in a place long enough to make friends. So it was wonderful to finally hit my sophomore year in a high school in Puerto Rico and learn people's names because I was moving every few months out of other schools that I grew up in. My mother's a single mom or was a single mom, and if you've lived single mom life, sometimes it can be really difficult making ends meet, and we ended up moving a whole heck of a lot.
Right. There was a story in there about in Spanglish, recipes and stories. I'll keep repeating this, folks. There was a story in there, it sort of hit home about a teacher when you first moved to the United States and not understanding English and a prank. I won't go into details that a student played on you.
Yeah.
And you didn't understand curse words, and they tricked you into writing it and saying something to the teacher, and she went ballistic on you.
Yes, she did.
And I wonder, teachers play such an important part. And I've told this story before. and I'll do it now. Did this not sort of have a lingering, obviously you wrote about it, had a lingering memory for you? Did it set something up on you? Like, how do you, was it a feeling that you carried over to adulthood? Do I make any sense?
Yeah, you do. And thank you for that question. I my friend actually was the one that pointed it out to me after reading that story. He said, you've been a fighter since you were 6 years old, and you've been standing up for yourself since you were 6 years old. And so when you get the book, if you get the book, please get the book. um, uh, it was really about me being in a classroom for the first time in the continental US and wondering, I remember looking over at the chalkboard and wondering where all the letters had gone, because in Puerto Rico, we have more letters in the alphabet. We have an ñ and an L and an R, and those don't exist in the alphabet that the continental Americans use. And during a spelling test, the kid behind me had me he didn't have me copy a word. I knew I was cheating, but I thought I'd made a friend by copying this spelling word, and it ended up being the biggest curse word a first grader could put on their spelling test. So I understand why this teacher tripped out, right? But this was way before ESL was a thing. English is a second language. So it was just expected that you kept up, or you fell behind. There was no help, to helping you understand the language. But what I think is the most beautiful part of being misunderstood in that way, was the fact that it actually inspired me later on in my life to create one of my favorite recipes of all time. I'll go back to the moment when I also was very angry that my teacher was yelling at me. She broke my Donkey Kong Jr. pencil, and I flipped my table, and I ran out of the classroom, and I smelled simmering beef. And I followed the scent of simmering beef to the cafeteria, where a brown woman was making sloppy Joe, a big old vat of it. And I stepped up to her and I said, I need you to help me, in Spanish. And she said, what do you need? And I said, I need a knife. And she said, what do you need a knife for? And I said, I need to kill my teacher. And she said, okay, hold on. Now, at this point, most cafeteria ladies would go and get the principal. But this particular cafeteria lady came back with a white little plastic knife that comes in a packet with,
Fork
with
and a napkin. Yeah.
yes. And she was like, here you go. And I went to the restroom, and I tried to remember the words to say in English, because I wanted her to understand what was about to go down. I wanted her to understand that I'm going to kill you. And I figured out the words, and I got into the classroom, and my mother was there. And the teacher was not the person that got killed that night. We'll leave it at that. Yeah.
I just want to say these stories, entertaining, but have so much heart in it. That's why I sort of think of it as being like a Rocky story. I can see all of this making a movie.
My goodness.
Seriously, anybody listening, this would make a great movie. Just
thank you
a
so
series
much.
from what you started with. And I we're going to not tell all the stories because we want them to buy Spanglish.
Yes, out on your
Right.
birthday, May 19th.
May 19th. Yes, 21. I'll be 21 again and again. All righty. All right. So we did this, and okay. So some of the things that you've gone through, you're a single mother with a child, you're divorced, um, you're struggling, you find this broadcasting school to go to. Now, understand, everybody, she went to 23 schools before high school. It's not the best education because you're breaking up things there. All right, so you're going to the broadcasting school. Again, Something comes up. You have a terrible accident. You check yourself. And these are just little tidbits, people. It's really great reading. You check yourself out and you have broken ribs and blah, blah. I forgot so many different things.
I had 19
And
broken ribs. I didn't even know people had that many ribs.
you,
I didn't. I didn't. And I had a punctured lung. I'd been in a coma for 2 weeks. Yeah, it was crazy.
and you checked yourself out to finish the broadcast school.
Yeah, because those,
Determination.
well, I mean, determination. And also, I was not going to lose the $5,000 that it cost to enroll in that course. And the people that ran the school let me know that if I didn't finish it, that money was gone. So I didn't really have an option. I mean, that was
Right.
a lot of money for me back then.
All right. So we sort of laid the foundation. Um, we talked about what is Spanglish and Puerto Rico. I think the influences were the Spanish explorers, the African
Enslaved
slave
people.
enslaved
Mhm.
people, and Tiano people, the native people. Is it Tiano? Tayano?
Taíno, Taíno.
Taino.
Yeah, the Caribe Indians, the Taíno people were the very first people in Puerto Rico. The Spanish colonists came. They brought enslaved people, and so the Taíno Indians lived off of lizards and fish and root vegetables, really. So it was the enslaved people that bought many, and the Spanish colonists that bought many of the ingredients that we're known for today, like the plantain and the coconuts and spices and sugar and pork, our favorite flavor.
The favorite flavor is pork. I love it. I love it. Um, in the book, which I'll hold up again because
Thank
I
you.
love
I'll
the
do that.
book.
I'm going to
Okay,
marry you. There you go.
there we
Yes.
go. All right. In the book, you have a foundation section which talks about the different spice blends, things that you need to take this continental American pot roast or chicken and add things to it to make it Spanglish. That are these items. It could be a choti, adobo, soursop, guava, all these different things, the spice blends, Cezanne, all of those to add to it. Um, one of the things that is in there and has a little story behind it in the foundation is a recipe for a tamarind guava barbecue sauce.
Yes.
And and it was pointed out to me by the person who tested all your recipes, Bonnie
Miss
Benwick.
Bonnie Benwick, the most epic. She's such a superstar. I love her so much.
And just to let people know, if you're going to have somebody testing your recipes, it should be the former Washington Post food editor.
I mean, my God.
And she's fabulous, lovely woman, just talented. So, in looking at it, there really is some history to the tamarind guava barbecue sauce. So, why don't you fill people in?
What do you mean? What history?
Well, isn't it considered sort of like the first barbecue sauce, barbacoa?
Oh, so barbecue is considered many times to be a Southern thing. But in reality, barbacoa is a Caribe Indian word, and it was created by the Taino Indians. So it was the Taino Indians in the Caribe, including Puerto Rico, that invented barbecue. And so while they might not have had sauces back then, they definitely were cooking over fire on a spit. And it really was something that was created by the Caribbean Indians, the Taino Indians. Though they did bring it to the South because, again, they were enslaved and they were brought to the South to work plantations. and that's when they brought that cooking method with them.
You saw me cover my mic. I heard everything that you said, but they are cutting the lawn right underneath my window. So if you're hearing a little background noise, I'm trying to cover this and I hope we're coming through. So huge section about the foundation spices and things of that nature. And then we take a look at, some of these dishes that are American, continental American, plus
And
like
thank you so much for saying continental American, because a lot of times people just say, "Oh, you were in Puerto Rico, then you went to America," and Puerto Rico is a part of America. So I appreciate you making that distinction. Thank you.
my pleasure. Um, I understand that. And and part of this book, there's some chilies in it, but Puerto Rican cuisine is not known for heavy chilies like Mexican or other Spanish places.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, I think you have one hot sauce in here.
Sí,
And
pique. So our cuisine is really more about savory, sweet. We call it agridulce. And so we love a savory, beefy picadillo with raisins in it, or layered with a sweet plantain. That's our perfect balanced flavor in Puerto Rico. When you have maybe, say, a Mexican cuisine, where it's really about the chile and the heat. But in Puerto Rico, we do have one very popular hot sauce. It's a vinegar-based hot sauce. We make it with fruit rinds, pineapple rinds, and then a pepper that is grown in Puerto Rico, ají caballero. Uh, it's a spicy pepper, not crazy spicy like a habanero, but it does look like a habanero. So many times when people shop for me, I ask them for an ají pepper, and they bring back the most powerful
right.
habanero pepper.
Well, and just in case, if you're living somewhere where you don't have access to Amazon or places to get some specialty items, there's a list in the book where you can reach out. But most of these things are available through Amazon and other sites. Other recipes like hibiscus baked beans, I thought that was interesting. And arepa BLT. So you can see where there's the Spanglish kicking in.
Yeah, I really wanted to take these recipes that I grew up devouring at school, right? Because at home we ate Spanish food, but at school we would have, I fell in love with meatloaf, and I fell in love with BLTs, and well, not my very first BLT, that was terrible, um, and Twinkies, and all these different things that we just didn't have growing up in our Latino household. But I wanted to bring some of the flavors of Puerto Rico to it, and I think they ended up really, really beautiful. I mean, when Miss Bonnie Benwick gives you compliments, it's good, because
Right.
she does
Well,
not fuss around. She doesn't fuss around.
she doesn't play around. She
Yes.
knows, and she'll say that she's a baker more than anything else. And I just want to tell people, floating up in the comments section is more information about Monti Carlo and the book. Her website is themonticarlo.com, and on Facebook, The Monti Carlo, and Instagram. So all that information is there. And there is a link to get the book. But if you go to themonticarlo.com, you can pre-order, which Tuesday it's going to be out on the shelves. All right. Now I want to get to MasterChef. You think I was going to ignore that? No. But we're here to talk the book.
Thank
And
you.
oh, MasterChef, I was watching MasterChef in season number 3. I had to go back on YouTube to see, which one it
You watched
was.
my season?
I watched that whole season, yes.
Wow, thank you.
I might not have remembered your name, but I watched, yeah. Now that I stream, I don't get channel 45 anymore. So, but Yes, I watched, and you didn't have a chance in hell with Christy High.
No, no. Christine is the most talented person I've ever met. Just a force, a force. It's absolutely ridiculous watching her cook in a kitchen. For those of you that aren't familiar with Christine Ha, she is she is Vietnamese. She lost most of her eyesight later on in life as an adult, and she auditioned for MasterChef basically blind. She's known as the blind cook. She was inspired to begin cooking, to recover her mother's recipes as she'd never had the chance to write down. And my God, is watching her one of the most inspirational things that I've ever done. Watching her in a kitchen is amazing.
Right. The This is where your life turned. This was a turning point for you. You had done some radio disc jockeying and tight funds, and you auditioned to be on MasterChef. And if anybody has watched the show, you're asked to represent yourself on a plate. And you present this to Gordon Ramsay, and either you get an apron or you don't get an apron. What was the dish that was on your plate that you presented?
It was really hard to come up with a dish because one, I was not a master chef when I auditioned for MasterChef. I talk about it in the book a little deeper. I was facing homelessness, and the only reason I auditioned for the show was because I thought I was gonna get $50 if I made it on camera. That was not true. You don't get $50, but the producers told me that I could get $250,000 if I won. So I dedicated myself to figuring out how to put myself on a plate. They gave me 8 weeks. And the dish I came up with was a shepherd's pie, which is Gordon Ramsay's favorite dish. But I wanted to do it Puerto Rican style. So I made it with a mashed sweet plantain, and then the beef mince, which is usually made with peas and carrots. I made with olives and raisins in a traditional Puerto Rican picadillo. And he liked the dish. And I still, Dara, I can't watch the video of him giving me that apron without getting all sorts of choked up, because that was the exact moment that my entire life changed. And I don't know many people that have the privilege of being able to look at the moment that their whole life changed. But I do have that privilege, and it's very moving 15 years later. Every time I see it, by handing me that apron, he gave me the opportunity for a new life. Um, and I ran with it. I really did.
Yeah. You're telling me, and I'm just sort of tearing up myself. And you've been telling stories, and I can't stress enough how beautifully you write. And I know they're editors, but it's you're the core there, and what you're saying in the book. So people, it is recipes and stories, plenty of recipes, but you have to come in and read. You just said that you're recently senior editor at the what Atlanta.
Journal Constitution. I'm it's a dream job of mine. I lived in Atlanta. When I was run over by that dump truck, I was living in Atlanta. The school I went to was Atlanta Broadcast Institute. And when the opportunity came up, when I saw the job posting, I got goosebumps all over. The same way that I got goosebumps all over when I saw the audition for MasterChef. And I didn't have this huge resume with years of experience at, a legacy paper, but I did have a lot of digital experience, and I have a ton of food experience. And I don't know how I talked them into hiring me, but I did.
Well, just to give you an idea, um, when they say your stories are well told, engaging, and emotional, here's a quote. And believe me, you've had some bad things go on in your life. Every lousy turn, a purpose. Every obstacle, a gift. Find the purpose, find the gift. That was so well said.
Thank you
You
so
know,
much.
um, and another word I want to bring up that has nothing to do with any of this. You brought up that one of your grandmothers something gave you chiclets. I haven't heard the word chiclets in eons. And for
I love
those of you,
chiclets. They're the best. So for those of you that don't remember chiclets, you missed out. They're the square candy. It's gum, and they come in many different colors. But my grandmother would only get us the white chiclets. They come in a little packet, kind of like Trident gum does. And she taught us how to chew gum. We were only allowed to chew it for like 15 seconds before we had to spit it out. So we would crack them with the back of our teeth and then chew furiously before she made us spit it out, trying to get as much flavor out of it, which is, 15 seconds is about as long as you have before it doesn't have flavor anymore.
right? Well, that's most chewing gum. Um, Even I start thinking about like juicy fruit now in my teeth. I cringe. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
believe how sweet and whatever. So everybody, I'm going to let me refresh the screen and see what we come up with here. I have more technical difficulties here. Let's go. Okay. Um, so everyone, Spanglish. I could go on, but you need to buy the book. I can't keep telling you
Yes.
everything that's in the book.
Please buy the book. I'm trying to be the very first New York Times best-selling author of a Puerto Rican cookbook. A Puerto Rican cookbook has never made it to the New York Times bestseller list. I could list 10 cookbooks off the top of my head by Puerto Rican authors that should have been on that list because they're so influential and fundamental to our cuisine. And it's time. I really hope that I can break that record and break that ceiling, because not selfishly for ego, because it really isn't going to make much of a difference for me money wise to
For
have
Puerto
that.
Rico?
For Boricuas, see, for Boricuas everywhere that are younger and coming up, for the opportunity for them to be able to sell their stories. So, our food is very oftentimes called niche, and it's not something that is an easy sell. So I would love it if I could get that New York Times best-selling author, because I know it would open so many doors for so many young, incredible creatives that are coming up.
Well, hopefully this will help at least a couple books be sold.
Yes, thank
Fingers
you.
fingers crossed. You have a huge, I think, across the many different social medias. You have like 1 million followers. You've done shows on the Food Network, James Beard. Your life is fascinating. And everybody, you should follow her and buy a book too while you're at it. All right. Whereas I could talk about the Food Network and all that. Maybe that's another 3 years and we can check in with you and see where you are there. I'm going to give you the questions that I sent to you in advance. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, when I was 18 years old, I was living in Puerto Rico and I decided to go to the continental US because I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to go to Hollywood. I didn't make it to Hollywood. I made it to Hollywood, Florida. That's as far as I made it. And I think the advice that I would give my 18-year-old self would be, um, not to worry so much about all of the things that go wrong, because the things that go wrong have ultimately in my life, now looking back as a 51-year-old woman, have been the biggest gifts of my life. It's those obstacles that shape you and create a warrior out of you. So I would ask myself not to spend so much time crying about it and worrying about it, because in reality, they are a gift.
Or make lemonade,
Exactly.
right? If you could wake up tomorrow morning with a new talent, what would it be?
I would wake up with the I have ADHD, so I would wake up with the talent of being able to focus. I would love to be able to just focus and get through one thing without starting 18 other things. That would be the most amazing. I can't even. I have a friend of mine that doesn't have ADHD, and she gets so much done in 1 hour. And I I have like 18 different things. I have like 4 glasses of water. I have 15 tabs open on my computer. And it's the most ridiculous. But I also feel like, it's one of my superpowers. But man, it would be so great to be able to focus.
Well, that's interesting considering you were on MasterChef. You didn't have time not to.
No. And when you have ADHD, that kind of stress and pressure unloads a ton of dopamine, and that's what you need to get things done when you have ADHD. If you have any sort of time to think about stuff, you're not going to get anything done.
Right. All right. Let's get to some food now. What 2 things are a must in your refrigerator?
Well, I always have heavy cream. Always, because you can do so much with it. Not only can you whip it and create something delicious out of it, you can steep it with all sorts of different fruits. And I love to steep heavy cream with bay leaves to add a little savoriness and a little savory note to desserts. But you can also use it to create sauces. You can shake it up and make butter. You can make a cream cheese out of it. It's, for me, heavy cream is just an absolute must. And salted butter. I put salted butter in everything. In everything. I put salted butter in the microwave and make brown butter in 3 minutes. And then I put the brown butter in the fridge, and then I spread brown butter on everything I have. It's the most amazing.
You have to use I'm asking you because I'm curious. Because the butter just splatters in the microwave. So tell
Oh,
us a
yeah.
little bit more.
I have a wet paper towel. I do it in a Pyrex measuring cup. You want to have something that's really thick, that isn't going to get hot, hot, hot in the microwave. And I take a wet paper towel and I cover the Pyrex cup in the wet paper towel, so that butter doesn't splatter all over the microwave. And you will be so set. It's so good. It's
On
so
high
easy.
for 3 minutes.
On high in 30-second increments, and it usually takes about 3 minutes. But I pause after every 30 seconds, and I open the microwave door to let out steam. Then I close it again and do it again. And I mean, it takes, probably double the time to do it in a pan. I guess I just love saving 3 minutes.
Okay. What's the best bite you've had all week?
Man, I have had some great food this week. I went to a dinner at a Peruvian restaurant in Atlanta called Madre Selva, which means Mother of the Jungle. And there was a chef there from Colombia, who was doing a pop-up. And he created a fermented lime with prawn that he had chopped very finely, and then emulsified coconut milk. And it was so refreshing and so powerful and acidic, but also buttery from the prawn meat. It was beyond.
All right, that does sound good. What was your ultimate culinary fail?
They happened on MasterChef. So when I auditioned for MasterChef, when I was in that kitchen, I had very limited experience in a professional kitchen. And Chef Gordon Ramsay asked us to create his favorite childhood dessert, which is a trifle. It has 18 different components. I was a very messy cook. I had dishes everywhere, all over my station. I didn't have space to put together the trifle. I had these rubber bottom bowls that they have in the MasterChef kitchen that I had put on top of the stove, not realizing that I hadn't turned the stove off. I went back to pantry to assemble this dessert. And I hear Gordon Ramsay screaming at the top of his, Monty, where the F is Monty? And I ran out of the pantry. And at this point in my life, my shoes were about 10 years old. They no longer had any tread on them. And I stopped running, but my body kept going. And I just slammed into Gordon, and he took me by the shoulders and he pushed me back. And he said, Monty, what the F is that? And he pointed to my stove. And because I am a very literal person, I said, Chef, that is a bowl on fire. And he was not having it. He was not having it. Yeah. That was definitely my biggest. I set fire to the MasterChef kitchen. I wish I could say that was the only time I set fire to that kitchen, but I would be lying.
Okay. Well, that's a good enough story. You made me laugh. And if you can make me laugh, that's all I want. A nice smile every day is great.
Thank you.
Okay, Monty, of the MontiCarlo.com Spanglish cookbook and recipes and stories. What didn't I ask you that I probably should have?
I don't know. You did a lot of research. Thank you so much. I think my favorite recipe in the book is the morcilla sloppy joe, because again, how I started out in the continental US with this insane moment where I decided I was going to kill my teacher, over sloppy joes. And now I've turned that into something that I'm really proud of. And I really love. And I love that I can get people that genuinely are put off by a blood sausage to enjoy blood sausage. I love that so much. I just had a dinner in Atlanta this past weekend, and I served the blood sausage sloppy joe, and everyone loved it. It was great.
You know what? I believe sometimes just don't tell them what they're eating. I used to organize for the American Institute of Wine and Food here in Baltimore. We do different dinners, and we were going to this Vietnamese restaurant, and they were doing a salad, but it had slivered pig's ears.
Ooh, I love that. I mean, that's delicious.
When I typed up the menu, I just said pork. And they ate it. But if I told them it was slivered pig's ears,
it
wasn't
wouldn't have
going to
done
happen. Yeah. Monty,
it's amazing.
You're a true treasure. And I wish you all the best to the New York Times bestseller list.
Thank you.
And much joy, much happiness. I have a couple announcements to make. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
One last time, folks.
Yes. And if you're in the DC area, please come visit me at Bold Fork Books Thursday, May 28th. I'll be signing books. I'll be doing a Q&A, and it's near to Baltimore. Yes, it's like an hour out.
Yeah. But my show might be based in Baltimore, but it goes everywhere. It at least goes down to Norfolk, Virginia. Beyond that, I don't know. But thank you again for joining us. And I have a couple announcements, and Griffin will just take you, you can just click out once you're off.
Thank you so much. And happy birthday this coming Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye now. All right, everyone. Next week's show, number 285, we're counting down to 300. I am trying to find a super special guest for the 300th show. Not sure. We'll see. Next week's guest is chef, educator, sustainable farmer Mark Mills. He is the lead farmer, chef instructor, and chocolatier at Chocolates and Tomatoes Farm in Middletown, Maryland. His work reflects a deep commitment to connecting sustainable farming with healthy, delicious culinary artistry. It is a unique blend of regenerative agriculture, gourmet chocolate making, and hands-on cooking classes, all rooted in a deep respect for the land and the people it feeds. If you need to reach me, you can reach me on Instagram at Dara Cooks. On Facebook, I do have the Food Enthusiast page, and you can also go to jmoreliving.com. Feel free to go back into the show's archived interviews at jmoreliving.com. When you go to the website, click the food menu, click the Food Enthusiast, and all 284 shows will be there. Don't miss, there is a link there to sign up for a free bi-monthly food newsletter with recipes and updates on what's going on in restaurants in Baltimore, a lot of food news. We truly, and I truly appreciate it when you share our show with friends and family. May your plates always, always remain full.